Scores of Palestinians were killed in central Gaza after Israel stepped up its strikes on the war-torn enclave. Another convoy of 17 aid trucks arrived as the Hamas-run territory faces catastrophic shortages now. There were fresh exchanges of fire over Israel's northern border with Lebanon as fears grew that Hezbollah, a close ally of Hamas and Iran, could enter the conflict. Now, the violence is raging unchecked. Iran said that the region could spiral out of control apart from funding Hamas. Israel's arch foe backs Hezbollah in Lebanon as well. Washington warned any actors looking to inflame the conflict that it would not hesitate to act in the event of any escalation. Now, Israeli Prime Minister issued a stark warning to Lebanon's Hezbollah, saying that getting involved would be the mistake of Hezbollah's life.
שאתם עושים פה ומה ששמעתי עכשיו מהמפקדים שלכם זה דבר חשוב מאין כמוהו. אתם הורגים אנשי חיזבאללה שמנסים לתקוף את קו החזית שלנו. אני לא יודע עכשיו, כשאני נמצא איתכם, אני לא יכול להגיד לכם כרגע אם חיזבאללה יחליט להיכנס בצורה מלאה למלחמה. אם חיזבאללה יחליט להיכנס למלחמה, הוא יתגעגע למלחמת לבנון השנייה. הוא יעשה את טעות חייו. ואנחנו נכה בו בעוצמה שהוא לא יכול אפילו לדמיין. והמשמעות לו ולמדינת לבנון היא הרסנית. אבל אנחנו ערוכים לכל תרחיש.
Gaza officials said that the central town of Deir al-Balah had been particularly badly hit overnight Saturday to Sunday. The ministry said at least 80 people had been killed in the overnight raids on central Gaza, which destroyed more than 30 homes. The UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees said that 29 of its staff had been killed since the start of the war, saying half of them were teachers. The scale of the bombing has left basic systems unable to function, and the UN stated that dozens of unidentified bodies had been buried in a mass grave in Gaza City because cold storage had run out. The UN says Gaza needs 100 trucks per day to meet the needs of 2.4 million residents. Before the current hostilities erupted, the daily average used to be about 500 trucks a day, and so far there have been no deliveries of fuel. On Sunday, the chief of the UN agency said for Palestinian refugees warned that supplies would run out in 3 days. Philip Lazzarini said, and I'm quoting here, "Without fuel, there will be no water, no functioning hospitals, and aid will not reach many civilians in desperate need." Now, the Hamas group said 165,000 housing units, half of those in the entire Gaza Strip, had been destroyed in the raids. Meanwhile, an Israeli soldier was killed near the Gaza border by an anti-tank missile fired by militants inside the enclave. Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant warned that the war with Hamas could take months. And speaking to Sky News, President Isaac Herzog of Israel said that the Israeli Defense Forces found Hamas files with instructions for making chemical weapons as well. Analysts say that it is not clear whether Hamas had any serious or operational plan for using makeshift chemical weapons or whether the group had attempted to produce them.
This is material which was found on the body of one of those sadistic villains. It's Al-Qaeda material, official Al-Qaeda material. We're dealing with ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and Hamas. This is what we're dealing with. And in this material, there were instructions how to produce chemical weapons. It speaks about arson, and it speaks about various chemicals that come out and produce chemical weapons.
With fears growing that the conflict could spread, Israel admitted that accidentally hitting an Egyptian border post. They admitted that it was by accident. Tel Aviv apologized for the incident, which Cairo said had left an unspecified number of border guards with minor injuries. Now, Pope Francis used his weekly Angelus prayer in Rome to plead for an end to the bloodshed. He said, and I'm quoting here, that war is always a defeat. It is a destruction of human fraternity. Brothers, stop. He later held a 20-minute conversation with Joe Biden about conflict situations in the world and the need to identify paths to peace. The US president later discussed the war with the leaders of Britain, Canada, France, Germany and Italy, and he also held talks with Netanyahu. In Paris, French President Emmanuel Macron's office announced that he would be traveling to Israel on Tuesday for talks with Israeli Prime Minister. Protesters marched in several European capitals on Sunday.
WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.